As Coder was talking about the site and West Virginia had applied, Senator Manchin, who was then governor, made a visit, I believe, to Irving, Texas, to the headquarters for the Boy Scouts, and he told the Boy Scout representatives that the Scouts and West Virginia go together like peas and carrots.
Yes,
I believe
thank you
that's the slogan that the senator used. Coming to talk a little bit about this project and who the CCC is Rob Wooton.
Thank you all. How are y'all doing tonight? Really appreciate y'all having us here today. Mr. Martin and all of us, we really can't thank y'all enough for getting involved with this. It's going to take a community effort to make this happen. Now, in case y'all don't know anything about the CCC, the original Civilian Conservation Corps was a program put out in about 33 by FDR. And it was a program that was developed to help bring the United States out of the Great Depression. And this program was originally available to young men, unemployed young men, from the ages of 18 to 25 years old. And these young men were spread out throughout the United States, and they went out and they built roads, and they helped develop and build state parks, and they built bridges, they built other outdoor structures. They planted 1 billion trees nationwide, you know, and these kids did this all for a meager pay of about $30 a month, of which the federal government sent $25 of that $30 directly home to their families. And that's how that program started. We are the long-down descendants. The Citizens Conservation Corps, the idea behind our structures goes right directly with that. And we've got 3 main goals as the Citizens Conservation Corps of West Virginia. You know, we want to go in and conduct projects and programs within communities that help strengthen and revitalize the local communities. Additionally, we want to provide educational and employment opportunities to the youth throughout our state through meaningful educational experiences. And third, we want to conserve and basically protect and ensure our state's natural resources are going to be there for these children as they grow older. You know, that being said, the Citizens Conservation Corps of West Virginia, we wear many different hats, and I'm still learning most of them. I started there about 6 months ago, and it's amazing what all they do. You know, our big thing that we do primarily is the courtesy patrol. That was our big baby about 1998, I think, was the inception of that program. And most people in our state have seen those white trucks rolling around. We cover all the 4-lane roads throughout West Virginia, except for the interstate part through the turnpike that runs basically from Gent up to Shillian. That area there is covered by the turnpike. All the other 4-lane roads throughout the state, we provide the service that goes out and helps the motorists as they travel through, whether you be a local resident, whether you be an out-of-state person. At least, you know, you've got this good experience that happens if you have a bad experience on our highways. Some of the other programs that we do here through the CCC is we manage and help maintain and operate Twin Branch down in Dow County, Twin Branch Adventure Park down in Dow County. We help manage, operate Burning Rock Outdoor Adventure Park here in Raleigh County. Well, we have ATV trails there. We've got the longest zip lines in the eastern United States. Is that right? We've got you know, trail riding for ATVs and 2-wheel bikes. We've got camping available down there. It's a really neat facility. It's constantly growing. I think they put in, I think we've got 125 miles worth of trails. I think they put in 10 miles since I've started. You know, they're constantly updating and rebuilding that. We've got beautification crews that work for us through Beckley. We've got 2 different beautification crews out in Beckley, is that right? And then we've got a beautification crew in Huntington also. And these guys go out and they do beautification projects throughout those cities. We also organize and help manage the First Tee of West Virginia, which is one of 2 statewide First Tee programs throughout the state. And the First Tee program teaches life skills to today's youth through the methods of golf and through golf instruction. It gives them good experiences relating with other people. It's a very neat program. Then on top of that, we've got the Challenged Athletes of West Virginia, the handicapped athletes. The Challenged Athletes program, Dave Beck runs it out of Pocahontas County. We assist and help with that. So like I said, we've got our hands in just about everything we can, but we always seem to be able to manage this. These are big programs. We like to tackle big things. That being said, the Boy Scouts are coming. Most of you all might have heard a little bit about it. It's truly an amazing thing that's getting ready to happen. The Boy Scouts are coming in 2013, and they're going to hold the first of 100 years worth of national jamborees that they're going to do every 4 years. When they come in, they're bringing 40,000 scouts to southern West Virginia. And that's just the scouts. There's going to be support staff. There's going to be other family there. There's going to be a tremendous influx of population coming to southern West Virginia. For the first time ever in the history of the Boy Scouts, they're going to follow the World Jamboree model, and they're going to implement a process called the Day of Service. And this is basically, they're going to go out and implement community service projects across an area that they can cover from their home Jamboree area. So what they're going to do is they're going to offer us 300,000 hours possible of community service, spread out between 9 counties, which basically covers a 60-mile radius from the Summit Bechtel Reserve site. And they're going to go out and we're going to attempt to get these 8,000 scouts per day spread out between these 9 counties and attempt to complete and tackle 20 to 25 community service projects per county per day. We're looking at over 1,000 community service projects to be completed in a 5-day period during that community service issue. It's really a monumental thing. Now, the neat thing about it, the Scouts are going to give us 3 things. The Scouts are going to provide all of the transportation. That's something that we do not have to deal with. The Scouts are going to provide the labor, all the kids. And the Scouts are going to put a box lunch in every one of their hands. From that point on, it's up to us to come up with these community service projects, to fill in the holes that are going to be needed. You know, there's going to be gaps. Some projects are going to be funded. Some projects are going to have enough people. Some projects aren't. We're going to have the fundraising done. We're going to have to be able to have the volunteers available. There's some tasks that the Boy Scouts will not be allowed to do, whether it be liability reasons or just the inability or instruction levels. There's some things they're not going to be able to do. We're going to have the skilled personnel on site to be able to do those types of things. This process has been going on since I started here back in May, and it's real. I mean, it was going on before then, but since May, it's just been growing and growing. We are now to the point of trying to educate the local communities. We want to get the applications in everyone's hands. We want to get these applications filled out. We need to break up into committees and get the committees started. Currently, we're having our public outreach right now. The 2 most important committees for us to get moving next on is the Youth Outreach Committee, the Youth Council, and the Media and PR Committee. Those are the 2 that have to go right in line, get the word out to the people, because we want anyone in this county is welcome to fill out one of these applications. And we want to encourage everyone with any idea. The Boy Scouts have said to leave no stone unturned. If you've got an idea, submit it. If we can figure out a way to make it work, we're going to make this work. You know, they're not coming here to have a lot of ideas tossed to them and then vetoed. They're really going to try to put their foot out there and do some assistance from the southern part of the state.
Talk about the different types of projects.
We have 5 major areas of projects that are going to be, that Boy Scouts are willing to tackle too. We've got wellness projects, which will be tracks and fields and sports areas and stuff, outdoor playgrounds. Wellness, we've got infrastructure, construction, green-friendly projects, which the Boy Scouts are definitely behind. And wellness, construction, infrastructure, green education. Arts and education.
Oh, yes.
Arts and education. And forgive me, I always seem to forget that one. So, but you know, those are the 5 types of projects that we're looking at being able to take submissions for. The Boy Scouts have asked us to incorporate an educational component with every project that comes in. So what their plan is for them to load their kids up in that morning, take a 60 to 90-minute bus ride. Their kids are going to have a 5 hours possible work day. They would like to be provided with 30 to 45 minutes of educational experience and then the bus ride back. Should total out to be about an 8-hour day. And the kids are going to go out, they'll take 8,000 out on the first Wednesday. and they'll take Thursday and Friday, and they'll take that weekend off, and then I think they come back, it's the 17th, 18th, 19th, and then they'll come back on the 22nd and 23rd, the Monday and Tuesday, will be the last 2 days. The Boy Scouts would like to have projects come in that they can send 1 troop, 2 troops, 3 troops out. Let's start this project and try to complete this project with these kids. They would like for the kids working on the community service projects to get the feeling, the sense of accomplishment. You know, we've come in, this was our project when we were here as Boy Scouts. Look at what we did and it's still here. You know, there's some projects that are going to be of significant importance, significant value. The Boy Scouts have already said that, hey, look, if it's one of these WOW projects or if it's a significantly important project, well, we're not going to say no, that we can't go and do a project over multiple days. But it'll have to measure up to those standards. I mean, they'll need a reasoning for that because primarily they want every kid here to have a wonderful experience in Southern West Virginia and to take that back across the country. You know, for the rest of their lives, these kids are going to talk about their experience at the Jamboree. And we want them to go home with a really good feeling about our state. Is there anything else, guys?
How many days, Rob?
613 days away from the Jamboree. And it seems like a long time, but it really isn't. I mean, it's less than 2 years, and they're mowing down. I mean, it's amazing. It really is. I had knee surgery back in July. There were 700 some days, 760 when that happened. You know. Yes.
How does the Corps fund all these projects that you all are involved in?
Well, the fundraising committees are going to be charged with some of that aspects. But we were going to bring in together the 9 fundraising chairs, and we've talked about a couple opportunities of group funding where the group together will acquire the funding, and then it'll be split up as needed.
So there'll be funding available for each individual group, or are you talking about like for the lunches and the gas and all that?
Excuse me?
Is the funding going to be available for the individual projects, or is your all funding you all raise?
Okay.
Is that going to be for your all?
Okay, every project, there's a fundraising committee in each county, okay?
Okay.
So therefore, each project stands on its own. Some
Okay.
projects, all you'll need is rakes and shovels and things of that nature to build trails. But some projects aren't going to need any fundraising. There might be a local businessman who's going to come in and take ownership of that particular project. Then there's going to be a project that the county champion and the CCC and the Boy Scouts are going to identify as a project that has absolutely no funding whatsoever. They don't have any materials, they don't have any tools, but it's such a tremendous need is that we recognize that, hey, we got to get together and we got to figure out a way to fund this project. So there are different ways. It might be the county commission, it might be the governor's office that we're approached to fund the project. But you know, through the 9-county area, we have talked about going to the Benedict Foundation and certain major corporations in terms of the 9 champions getting together, going for a certain pot of money and redistributing that money to the 9 different counties. So there are a lot of unknowns, but I do know that each project is an individual project and it needs to stand on its own. And the county champion and the CCC and the citizens in this county, Monroe County, are responsible for each one of those projects. So we're hoping that whoever the sponsor is of that project is going to have the energy to help us deliver on whatever is needed. How about that?
That would be me.
Any other questions?
That's good to hear, though. I didn't know that aspect was going to be part of it, so that's good.
And if I can interject, that leads us to the next step. You see these different plaques here. Fundraising Committee, Culture and Education Committee, Volunteer Committee, Youth Council Committee, and Media and Public Relations Committee. We hope before you leave tonight, you'll sign up for one of these committees. And you'll work under your county champion. There'll be a chair for each committee. The champion will work with you, and we'll develop these committees, get some of the other citizens, other residents together. Remember, we've met with the other side of the county in Union a couple of weeks ago, so we've got some names.
From the other side of the county, I missed the other.
That's not a problem. So there are some names already in the pot. And that's why we're here tonight, so that we can energize everyone, get everybody signed up for the committees. We can get the committees formed, and then we can get the ball rolling.
Now, one of the things that we certainly are asking you to do is to not wait until the deadline. I don't think you mentioned the deadline for the application process is March the 31st, okay? So, if you want to, you can come lollygagging in the door on March the 31st with your application, and we are going to review it.
Of 2012.
Of 2012.
Right.
Of 2012. So therefore, if you come in and say, December the 1st, if you have an application ready, I'm going to commit that within 2 weeks, we're going to send a team down here to take a look at and to take pictures and to evaluate your project on an early basis. And we are there as facilitators, as catalysts, and to help you strengthen the application so that we can resubmit it. So if you turn those applications in early, even if they're not ready, then it gives us an idea of what we'll look at.
That's what my next question was, how much are we gonna be able to alter these as the time gets closer?
Well, up until the deadline.
Okay.
But we're hoping that there are going to be some projects that are no-brainer. I know that some of you already know what some of those projects are going to be, okay? It's just about filling them out in an application process and getting them to us. And as soon as we log those applications, we're going to get them back to the champion so he can let the county, citizens within the county know what's going on. And we're going to be evaluating those. I mean, we have an evaluating arm that's going to work with the county champion to determine how we're going to prioritize those projects. But really, the overall picture is that we are doing a countywide assessment of all the community service needs for the future. And if it's not taken care of, in 2013, perhaps in 2017. But in between, and we don't know yet, but the Boy Scouts are thinking that during the summer, at the high venture camp, there's going to be 60,000 scouts that are going to be coming in, okay? So there might be a community service aspect to that. But more importantly, one of the things a vision that I've always had for the CCC is that there's a CCC team in each county, a tremendous supervisor with an assistant supervisor, and we'll hire 6 of your young people to go around and do about $1.5 million worth of work a year. That's a great vision for the CCC. But this might be the catalyst for that. So we don't know what the future is going to hold, but I do know that this thing is so large that we're going to work with communities and find a different way to do community service. This is our time to recapture our communities. We're going to be doing millions of dollars worth of projects. But guess what? It's truly a grassroots effort, and you, the citizens of Monroe County, are going to determine what gets accomplished here in your county.
As Bree said, we've got the committee signs here. We're going to answer questions if anyone has any further questions directly.
If you want to talk more about those communities,
Be happy to. The fundraising committee, as he's already explained, is going to be there to provide assistance when funding becomes necessary for different project applications. Culture and Education Committee, the Volunteer Committee, the Youth Council Committee, and the Media and Public Relations Committees are the other 4 committees that we're going to require. The Culture and Education Committee are charged with, they're creating the educational component to directly go with each project application that comes in. The educational aspects that the Boy Scouts have mentioned could be something as simple as a lecture, a discussion, a historical discussion on the bus ride over. It could be a scenic hike in the area where the actual project site is. It could be some local history right there in the area where the actual project is. But those components will need to be tailored right there to each individual project as they come in, and the educational committees will be charged with that. Also, the educational committee is charged with revitalization of the Boy Scouts program throughout West Virginia. And these guys throughout southern West Virginia, especially through our youth council.
That's the youth council. But let me add to what Rob is saying about the Arts and Education Committee. That's going to be a really fun committee. But more importantly, normally someone from the Historical Society, your local historians and your educators normally will sit on this when you're trying to think of what's going to be the makeup of the committee. Normally, your educators and your historians, and they're going to determine how you showcase your county. That's pretty much what that committee does.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, the volunteer committee, every project that comes in, they're going to need some extra volunteers. Some are going to need more than others. If the volunteer is simply the project manager for that project, every application is going to end up having some volunteers. The volunteer committee is going to be charged with acquiring and having these volunteers ready so that they can assign and delegate them out to the specific projects that they're going to need to have the extra volunteers for.
Okay, so Marie Walker, you want to talk about some of our efforts of what you're spearheading in the country?
Right. The NCCC team, or the National Civilian Conservation Corps, we are in talks and negotiation with them to bring in possibly 5 teams of NCCC members, which may be comprised of about 15 per group. And those teams are going to come in and they will assist the scouts. For example, let's say that there is a project that requires getting up on scaffolding. The scouts may not be able to get up on the scaffolding, but the NCCC team can get on the scaffolding, do what needs to be done, and the scouts work down on the ground. So they're going to work together in tandem with the Boy Scouts. We're also going to have, let me back up a little bit. There are 158 conservation and service corps across the country that do the same types of work that we do here in West Virginia. So what we have done is that we've talked to some of our peers across the country, and they're getting together groups of their corps members, California, New Mexico, Miami. They're going to bring in some of their young people to come and work and assist the scouts along for the community service projects. So we're going to have up to, we're probably talking maybe 2,000 to 3,000 additional volunteers that will come in to help assist the scouts with the community service projects, and that will come into your communities and help also.
And this probably comes under your volunteer committee, but what are the plans for housing those folks when they come in?
That's a great question. We haven't got quite that far yet. We're thinking maybe we can house them in local armories, maybe in churches, community centers. We are going to have housing. Some of them like they're spike crews, so they'll go outside in a tent. They'll just need somewhere to put a tent up.
Schools too, since it's during the summer.
Right.
So, and those are things that we have to address in that volunteer committee.
And Volunteer West Virginia.
Right. Volunteer West Virginia is also going to help through the Corporation for National Community Service. So we're pulling all those resources from everywhere that we can so that we can make this a success and that we can continue on for years to come.
All right, Youth Council Committee, and he's absolutely right, I got ahead of myself there. Youth Council Committee is charged with the revitalization of the scouting program throughout Southern West Virginia. And the way they're going to do that is they want the Youth Council is going to go out and directly get in contact with the youth throughout these counties. They're going to go out to the schools. Matter of fact, we're starting our public school outreach in Nicholas County next week. We're going to try to establish and go through every school. We want to talk in an assembly to every student in Monroe County. We want to make certain that every one of them get to see these materials that the Boy Scouts are bringing, see this video that the Boy Scouts have, hear about the community service projects that are going on. These kids are the ones that are going to be charged with the upkeep and maintaining these community service projects well into the future. You know, they're the people that are going to receive the most benefits from these projects. You know, and these projects are going to be an ongoing thing. We're going to be successful about it in 2013. In 2017, we're going to do it again. In 2019, the World Jamboree is coming in. In 2021, the National Jamboree again.
And more importantly, we're going to listen to what the young people have to say. They have a voice. So if they want some hoops put up on some playgrounds, or they want some volleyball courts or what have you, we're going to take on some of their projects. And more importantly, they are going to sit on this youth council. And that youth council is normally going to be led by maybe an Eagle Scout or a troop leader with the Boy Scouts, or a 4-H camp, or West Virginia Extension Service volunteer. We don't know, but I'm just trying to give you an idea of the makeup. So when you, I know that everyone is not here right now, but I'm giving you an idea of what the components of this committee should be, so that you can just go ahead, get on the phone, and they're not here, but we need you. This is our time. Okay.
Media and PR committee, right now is probably one of the most important committees we have. This is our method for reaching out and getting the message out to everyone. The media and PR committee, they're charged with getting any bulletins to be posted in the papers together. The word of mouth spread throughout the county. They're working hand in hand with Charles Ryan. Aren't you all working with each of the media and PR committees?
Think about that, Courtney. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Well, as I said earlier, we are a PR agency, and we are based in Charleston. We have offices in Morgantown, excuse me, and Richmond, Virginia. I'm the account executive on this particular account. We also work with my boss, who is Allie Goodwin-Gregg, and she's fantastic. And this is Brittany, as she said, and she's kind of helping us out with this project as well. And really, the media and PR committee will really do a lot of the outreach for the volunteer projects. And I think our main goal will be to get the word out, and we'll also, on the day, or the week of the Jamboree, excuse me, we will handle all media outreach, web media on site that day, making sure that the Boy Scouts are okay with, being filmed and being interviewed that day, and really just handling all aspects of communication for the committees and the volunteer projects.
So as we get out into the rural areas, one of the things that Courtney and the PR committee also make sure of is that each county is different. So how do we reach the deepest trenches of where we want our message to go to? The one thing that I don't want anyone to do is in June of next year to say, well, we never heard about it. We didn't know. That's unacceptable, okay? The Boy Scouts don't want to hear that. The CCC and Robert Martin don't want to hear that. So you guys have to help us out. And I'm going to be monitoring the projects. So I'm going to ride you guys to glory. If not enough projects are coming in, I'll be back down here time and time again. And if I have to go, however many times I have to go into the schools and talk to the kids in terms of, what do you guys want in your neighborhood? What type of beautification projects? I mean, this is a beautiful county anyway. The rolling hills, absolutely beautiful. But what can we do to add to the beauty of Monroe County?
Some important dates that are coming up, guys, as our CEO said. March 31st, 2012 is the application deadline. After that, the rest of 2012, we're going to be actually working in project development stage, going through the projects, figuring out, the different logistical needs that each project's going to have. Starting spring 2013, we're going to start ranking the projects, getting ready for this process to go out. It's truly going to be just a humongous project. The Boy Scouts are estimating around 250 fully loaded school buses pulling out of their Summit Bechtel site every morning of these community service days. That's 25 to 30 buses per county fully loaded running out to start community service projects. Someone mentioned, I think it was our CEO mentioned, think about it in these terms. Every morning at that summit camp, they're going to have to feed 40,000 kids breakfast. Where are you going to get the eggs for 40,000 kids? I mean, the benefit, it's so encompassing, the benefit to Southern West Virginia. I mean, it's not just going to be for the kids. I mean, the Boy Scouts are determined to do everything that they can just to keep it all West Virginia based. They're trying to hire and employ West Virginia citizens to do some of these projects that they're working on. They encouragingly want to try to provide for West Virginia as much as West Virginia is trying to provide for them.
Demonstration project.
Demonstration projects, yes, sir. Next summer, there will be 1 or 2 demonstration projects per county. We're going to get a test run out there. We want to see how this process is going to work. We want to get on the ground. So we don't hit the ground running in 2013. We need to get some idea of how these processes are going to fall into place. So sometime next summer of 2012, we will be doing a test run here in Monroe County.
And let me give you guys just a couple other things to think about, and we've been talking about it in other counties. So nothing prevents you from starting to store tools, rakes, shovels, paint, lumber supplies, and things of that nature tomorrow. So as people start donating it, or you go to Lowe's, or you go into Virginia, and some company gives you a tremendous amount of supplies, where are you going to store them? Huh? How many different locations that's going to be safe? Raleigh County, and I worry about that. I don't know how it is here in this county, but in some counties, you turn your head, there's vandalism, they'll open the doors, and they'll steal your supplies. So where are you going to store all these materials? We're not just going to order those supplies, 1 month before the project. We're going to store, probably as early as somebody nominates the first project, and we see there are going to be some projects that in 1 month, we're gonna say, hey, that's a no-brainer. The Boy Scouts and a champion and the CCC, we're gonna realize that's gonna be one of the projects for Monroe County. So we need to start kind of going ahead and moving forward on this project. But we'll let the sponsor know that, okay? So they'll start talking to the fundraising committee, and all of a sudden, hey, we need some tools, we need some hard hats, safety supplies, scaffolding, we need some ladders. It just depends. So we'll start going out and bringing those materials into one location. But where is it going to be in close proximity to the project site, or is it going to be in a central location in the county that the county commission says, hey, this is a safe haven? I don't know. But these are just the types of logistics that we need to start thinking about. It's going to happen, so let's think about everything that it takes to make these projects successful.
You just spurred a thought in working with the disaster relief over the last 13 years, and my constant attempt to try to get this accomplished. But one of the things, we start talking about tools and storage and so forth, and in this day and age when we're looking to respond to emergencies and natural disasters, it may be that this might be the spur for communities or counties to start putting together disaster trailers, where you can go ahead and stock them with the necessary equipment that's needed. We're going to have it stored in one location, even if there's a master plan for that, so that these trailers are connected all through the 9 county areas. We've seen that, particularly in McDowell County, I know a couple of you have had some links who know what it's like down there, but it's a whole lot easier to back in and grab a trailer that's already fully stocked and pull it off to a disaster. And the same thing is pulling it off to one of these work areas. And it's something that even down the line, we're talking about the CCC doing things and having county-based CCCs. You know, if there's at least one trailer in every county that would be set up and established and standardized, it'd be a great starting program for where you're going to store your tools and what tools you're going to have, and making each trailer look the same so they're interchangeable.
So you want to talk about Raleigh County, what the Rotary Club is proposing?
The Rotary Club has proposed to do just that. They want to have 3 trailers, they think, maybe more, but one trailer is going to be stocked with rakes and shovels and Pulaskis and trail building type tools. Another one is going to be stocked with your construction, like paint brushes and rollers and that type of thing. And then the 3rd trailer they want to stock with first aid, water, Gatorade. So they're wanting, the Rotary Club is going to do this for the entire county.
That's great.
So they're working on that now.
And then it's up to that champion, and, you know, to determine, you know, so people are going to know, these are the logistics problems we're going to run into. So, okay, everybody's going to think that their project is the most important project, okay? So they're going to know that those trailers exist. So how do you distribute that trailer? I don't have a dog in that fight, okay? That's something I'm going to do. So it's going to be an exciting time. I'm excited.
And we do have some of those trailers around. I mean, in Craigsville, there's a disaster trailer in Craigsville. There's one in Lewisburg. I don't know what the county's got available, if they've done anything along those lines.
We've got 1 or 2. Our stuff is mostly, we don't have tools in ours, but we've got blankets and disaster kits and stuff like that.
So, and some of it might be able to be retrofitted for a 5-day time period.
We need to talk about what we need to
Yeah.
do on those.
Okay.
That's a great idea.
I'll be with you. I've got a list that says this is what's needed in a trailer.
Your future meeting.
That's another meeting.
Lowest quoted 2 years ago, it's $4,000 to furnish the trailer on top of purchasing the trailer. So that gives you some money to think about. Okay?
Get creative.
And those were figures from what?
That was from Lowe's.
Okay.
To put, Uncle, United Methodist Relief Fund has a set standardization for their disaster trailers. And that's taking their list and having it priced out.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we failed, that we would be remiss if we didn't talk about how important the faith-based community is going to be for our efforts in the Manning County region, especially in the areas that the Scouts cannot get into. So the NCCC teams, the CCC, all of our volunteers and faith-based communities are going to go into the deepest areas of the county, okay? So it's a holistic approach. I don't know. You guys are thinking right now, but I imagine around January the 1st, well, definitely February the 1st, we should have a good idea of what's going to happen.
And we have applications here tonight, but you can also accept, you can retrieve these applications. It's accessible online.
I do have one more technical, really tiny question, but if my group, as the Friends of the Second Creek, would file an application and we have multiple projects, do we need to file an application
A
for
separate
each
application
project?
for each project.
Project, you know, we had that question come up in Wyoming County today, in Oceana, they have a city park there, and he was talking, they have painting that needs to go on, and they have a bandstand that needs to be repaired, and they would like to try to implement some decks on, some docks along the creek bank and stuff. And I asked, I said, that each one of those would be an individual project. Take an individual application. You know,
Okay,
even
does
though
each
they're all
individual project, are they gonna get the 40 kids, or is the 40 kids going to each county?
Now, if we find multiple projects that are in one site, like that,
That's
those will be
what we're
three different types of projects, that one little community service park, one little community park. Well, if those projects can be accomplished by one group, all three of them in a one-day period, that would work
Okay,
out.
we have 2 projects with our group that we were wondering if we could split the bus in half between the 2.
That's been mentioned.
Conquer and divide is what we call it.
That's been mentioned, absolutely. They've talked about, you know, get a couple projects in close proximity and drop a portion here and a portion there.
That's what we
You know, but the project will still have to have a project manager on site. Probably have to have some additional volunteers, some additional supervision, because you're going to be splitting the party. But, you know, those are all the logistical things that we can't anticipate until we start receiving these applications.
Okay,
And
thank
you
you.
mentioned a good point, I know you mentioned it 2 or 3 times, but is getting your applications in early. Because if you wait till up close to the deadline, I mean, there's going to be who knows how many applications, and
Yeah.
I think the city union probably will get a little more time.
Kind of like your taxes.
Somebody reviewing them now, for March than you are, you know, up toward the deadline.
Right, right. So we have those applications. And